Hi, welcome back to Helen Dewdney, the Complaining Cow consumer show on East London Radio. And today I'm really pleased to say that I've got Ellora Coupe with me, who is the founder of Her Own Space, which is something a little bit different today because Ellora's business is for women only. And we haven't talked about that in this space before. So Ellora, welcome.
Thank you, Helen. Thanks for having me.
Well, I think we should kick off with tell me about your business and how you and why you started it.
I'll start by saying I'm the daughter of a builder, and my dad renovated houses in and outside of London for 35, 40 years. And so I've grown up on building sites and then subsequently trained as an interior designer and a design manager, and have run my own renovation company for the last 7 years now. But basically, the kind of space that for me is really familiar and comfortable, I realized isn't for most women. It tends to be women who run home renovation projects. And I realized that the amount of questions I got asked in panic by female friends was really highlighting that there was a need for a space for women only. I kind of have to add that a lot of the Facebook groups and other groups out there were feeling really daunting. And honestly, they weren't the most welcoming spaces for women to ask questions. And so that's really where things kicked off for me last year in around March. I just wanted to start with creating that free space for women to kind of find each other and compare notes and learn from me.
So then how did you sort of start and develop it to be that?
So it started because actually I caught COVID. To be really honest, in April last year. And I had 3 major clients. I was working on projects and I literally was like, oh my God, I can't be on site. I literally have 3 client projects all started off at the same point. And I realized that a lot of the templates, the tools, the methodology that I have was able to keep those jobs going. And all the tradespeople I had on those sites were perfectly capable of knowing what was happening. And as I sat in bed, I luckily wasn't that ill. I just thought, how can I formulate this? How can I pull this together and create something for other women to use? Because I literally just didn't have the time to answer every single friend's question. And I was being asked the same questions. So I set up the Facebook group community first, Her Own Space, and it just took off really, really quickly. It kind of organically grew. It was really easy to see women could benefit from joining quickly. They immediately got much more encouragement for trying to do things on their own. Some women are attempting to do their own home renovation work. Others are managing builders. There's women's projects of all sizes. And they just compared notes. And I really wanted to support them in one space. So easily one person's answer was 2,000 people's answer at the end of the day. And I have about 2,000 members. And what I'm really excited about is that it was really easy to start to see what women needed. So, you know, really great supplier discounts, lots of questions on sustainability going on, loads of obviously, you know, the big elephant in the room is costs going through the roof, the energy crisis we're under. How do I make my home more sustainable? So there's a lot of big conversations at the moment in this industry that also need to be talked about. And I really want to help be a driver of making that information easy to understand, because there are so many sources. So the business itself is developing into a membership kind of format, and a really, really good low value membership that just gives all the women the chance to watch the course on how to manage your home renovation from start to finish, get discounts. And subsequently, I've attracted and found a huge community, and I say huge, but the only community of female tradeswomen. But I say it isn't huge because it's also a hugely small percentage of tradespeople are women. And they really want to come onto the group and also help women and give people the know-how in all areas from plumbing to electrics. So it's not just about interior design, it's about the grittier process of managing building work. Obviously, we're in a time where people's budgets are really tight and people have to be careful, but we're also in a time where people's homes have become really important and they still want to make those upgrades. They still need that extra space. They need to work from home. They have parents who need to move in. So it hasn't slowed down the renovation needs for women in this country. So the site is just so active and so inclusive and so kind and so encouraging. It's really important to make people feel that they don't have to feel like a beginner here, or they can feel like a beginner here, should I say. They can ask any question, no matter how silly it seems, because we've all got to start somewhere.
Does anybody ask, my first question would be, how do I make sure I don't go through a pipe with a drill, or how do I not electrocute myself?
Well, honestly, I think one thing that even I did was underestimate women's intelligence. There is always concern that, there's still this perception out there that women shouldn't tackle things. But I'll be honest, not one person has done anything that has made me think, I think you should stop. Everyone is sensible enough to know they're not going to take on a skilled job that they don't have experience in. And I'm certainly not encouraging people to do plumbing or anything, but one woman wanted to learn how to plaster her home to save money. And a lot of people on other groups, men had said, I wouldn't touch it, don't do it, you won't be able to. She went on, did an NVQ course, and she plastered her whole house. So they impress me every day. The women really impress me. So there's a lot of practical information, but also a lot sensible. People are saying, actually, I'd probably get a second opinion, or I'd get professional advice on this. So nobody's doing anything. But I think there's a real risk. There's this perception that women shouldn't touch stuff like this, or it's out of their skill set. And we need to start realizing that actually there isn't anything they can't do. But I would stress that most of the women are managing projects rather than doing serious DIY or heavy building work themselves. But it's just useful for them to know what questions to ask sometimes, and whether or not what the answer they've been given, for example, is the right answer, and whether they should go back. So just having that support network has been really lacking in this industry for a really, really long time.
Yeah, it sounds like you're empowering women as well to actually in the asking the questions, so they don't get the wall pulled at their eyes. People don't try on. It gives them the confidence, doesn't it?
Yeah, and there's a really, sadly, huge amount of distrust in the building trade. Even my dad, who was a fantastic builder, I really admired watching him support people, create great tradespeople teams. He organized projects brilliantly. And it saddens me that people immediately start a project and think, I can't trust this person. And a lot of it is mindset change. It's saying, look, you have to do a lot of due diligence nowadays to make sure you know exactly what you're getting for your money, what's missing, what is everything included. So, I give checklists and things in certain projects like extensions. These are all the things and all the trades I need to consider. So that then if you've done your due diligence, there's a point where that person's given you all the information. You have to trust them that they will deliver. You don't have to worry. Half the time, distrust comes, I think, in any industry from just a lack of clarity, a lack of communication, and a lack of the right questioning to make sure that you've asked everything you have to. So just giving the women the confidence to approach tradespeople, to instigate those conversations, and to keep those conversations talking about the harder things like money and deadlines, something we all like to avoid sometimes you're going to be spending more money on these kind of projects than you probably ever will on a personal project in life. You have to take it seriously to the point where you've approached enough people, got enough quotes, and just creating that confidence in women to do that has huge benefits on all parties. And that's how you do increase your chances of a really good, successful renovation project.
Yeah, you're finding people that are doing more because they can't afford to move. So they're just improving their homes.
Definitely. I mean, obviously, stamp duty costs, moving home is exceptionally costly. And then there's been this huge transition post-pandemic. People are working from home. They want a home office. That's easily one of the biggest growth areas of renovation work, is garden offices or converting spaces to create a sanctuary as well. And then as people are working from home more, the home has become an escape for many people.
Mm.
And, they do want their homes to feel like somewhere they can kind of shed the stress of the day when they walk in through the door. And people want the practicality of more space, spaces that work better for them. It's kind of ironically the one thing that hasn't seen a drop in planning permission applications, etc. At the moment, we haven't seen that. But people are being smarter and they're being very careful. So a lot of the women are really conscious that they're investing in the right thing and spending the right money. They don't want to spend cheap either. They do want to spend quality now that will last and stand the test of time. But then there's a real undercurrent as well that we really have to address, which is sustainability and making sure that the choices we make for improving our homes is the right choice. Even if it might cost more than we expected, people are wanting to do the right thing, improving the sustainability at kind of every cornerstone of home renovation, from the materials they choose to the energy efficiency of features they add to their home, even garden design. With the drought that we had this summer, people are really conscious about how they can help their, create a garden that cools the house. There's a lot of change going on in this arena within the UK. Building reg changes came in June, and we've got the building reg changes for future-proofing our homes 2025 that are quite significant in terms of whether we can use gas ever again and how we thermally improve the properties of our home and what materials are going to get us there. So I want to make it really easy to understand that area because there's a lot of confusion.
How do you help people sort of navigate that, the wanting to be sustainable, but the extra costs involved? How do you help people around that?
I think the conversations we're having are really, really important. There's people, exploring every option from heat pump, ground heat pump sources, all these kind of things at the moment. And I think just the conversation is vital. People are sharing suppliers and then seeing where the caveats are. From my perspective, because it's my industry, I am researching every day. I'm reading, I'm listening to podcasts. I'm at the moment researching an extensive amount of resources to basically over the next couple of months start to simplify all of this. And that's where I come in. I think it's really important that I am that overarching person who, ensures I'm seeing what directions people need to take and then making it really digestible without any of the bias. There's a lot of bias, there's a lot of politics involved in these areas at the moment. So people aren't sure whether things, but then there is a conversation going on about you may not see a return on investment in these upgrades anymore. We've always been in this perception that you spend a certain amount of money on your home and it adds value to your home and it comes back to you. But I know the Finnish housing market is a really good example. And they invest in changes to their home that they never expect to see back, just because it makes their home extremely energy efficient. And maybe there's a lot of mindset change that needs to happen through those conversations at the moment, which aren't easy. That's why there's a lot of confusion, because people are like, if I spend this money, solar power, heat pumps, I'm not going to see this back for 30 years. Is it worth doing? But there are some big decisions and a lot of educating that needs to happen in this area.
What would be some of your money saving tips if you're going to renovate your home?
So easily my money saving tip is spend a hell of a lot more time on planning than you realize. And please plan as early as you can. And when I say plan, one of the biggest money pitfalls on a project is when a project started and you haven't gone through the detail and you've got a tradesperson saying, right, okay, I need 30 handles, or I need the tiles, or I need the flooring delivered in 2 weeks. And typically what happens is it's a last minute panic because they didn't realize those things needed to be ordered in time. And at the moment, lead times on ordering any kind of supply is really extensive at the moment. And so I would say one of the money pitfalls is people not planning enough. And I say this a lot. I say 1 hour of planning saves 10 hours of doing. And that really is true. So, for example, I have this checklist that I give out, and it just lists for a kitchen extension all the little things that you might not have thought about. And the sooner you think about it, the better. And often, actually, a lot of tradespeople are choosing clients who are really, really organized because they have so much work on. They have quite a lot of choice over who they go with. So the more organized I say you are, the more likely you are to attract actually the right builder, because they will know that your expectations are easier to meet. Other areas are like really, really research products out there. Costs are going up and down every day at the moment. And even when you find things, they might not be available for 8 to 10 months. So people are really, really struggling. The other thing as well is, be realistic with your deadlines. Really plan before you live in the home and you have renovation work happening around you. And other thing is, please get, I say to everyone, minimum 3 quotes, because just the process of asking a tradesperson for a quote teaches you so much as you see who's included what, who's not included what. You might have, I've seen it before. I've seen quotes come in and then somebody forget that there's scaffolding. And the builder will say, well, that's always going to happen, but he's not added that in. But scaffolding can be like £6,000 to £10,000 suddenly overnight. So planning is really, really key. And I think one of the simple tools that I really want to give a quick checklist so that people realize all the tradespeople, the services and all the items they need to order. That's probably my main start in saving money at the moment.
Do you sort of find that the majority of people say that they really enjoyed it and they're going to do it again, or that they'll never do it again, or something in between?
I'd say something in between. It's amazing how many people, as they call it, get the bug.
Yeah.
For, I have friends who are like despairing because they're moving again because, maybe their husband or wife wants another project again. And then other people are just like, that's it. That was my forever home. That was horrendous. I will never do this again. So it's a real mixture, but it is a really painful life stage. That's for sure.
What do you think are the most common sort of questions that you do get asked the most?
It's such a variety. I think one of the most common questions are that people are obviously spending a lot of money if they're doing a big extension or expanding on their house. They employ an architect. And employing architects can be really daunting. They're extremely costly service, and you get given options and you're not quite sure, is this going to work? And I think the reason is something that comes really easily to me is thinking in 3D. I can look at a plan and I can see myself in that space, immediately see where the corner of the room is, where things are going to fit, what furniture is going to work. And a lot of people, it's not part of their day-to-day. So it's not part of their brain that they activate often. Mm-hmm. They often post plans and just say, does anyone have an opinion on this?
Can someone explain it, please?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Have I got enough light coming in? Is this sensible to have, the kitchen here? Should I look at it there? Because actually architects are really focused on the exterior expansion of a home. And as an interior designer, the irony is actually it's an interior designer who looks at the spatial layout of homes. But typically people go to an architect. An architect's job nowadays is to add square footage to your home to maximize its value. Sometimes it's not genuinely needed. Sometimes people can save a lot of money by just reconfiguring their home and actually not do that kind of building work. So I think those are the kind of questions a lot of women are asking is, does this layout work? Is there another option of adding another bedroom here? Have I missed something? And I think all the women are really sensible that at the end of the day, they know these aren't always professionals helping them, but just the safety of having another set of eyes. And then there's a lot of camaraderie amongst the women. So as women did make decisions, they post and say, oh, I've decided this, and oh, look how this looked. It turned out really well. And that lovely momentum really keeps women kind of encouraged to keep going? Yeah, I'd say those are the real questions. People are trying to understand their 3D space. And then secondly, probably the most popular question is, I'm looking for items, whether it be internal doors or flooring or kitchen worktops. And because it's such a big community, a lot of women find, oh, where do you live? Oh, yeah, I've just used so-and-so. They did a great job. So I'm really particular because a lot of groups can get bombarded with people selling things. So I'm very particular in curating the group and making sure that I really want women to recommend something because they've used it and they've got experience of it. And usually they're really happy to share, oh, look, this was my flooring. And everyone goes, oh, it's beautiful. Great. Where'd you get it from? So it's that shared information that's a real cornerstone of the questions women are asking.
What can you see happening in this area over the next sort of year and 5 years?
I don't think it's going to be any less volatile, to be honest, than it is now. I think that there is, obviously a lot going on at government side to also decide on what that building regs change of Future Home 2025 is actually going to have in it. It's still not been confirmed. So whether you're building a house from scratch, self-build is going to be really challenging. People are making sure that they finish jobs before those regs come in, or they are literally subject to meeting all that criteria. I also think we really don't know at the moment where things are going economically in terms of prices. Obviously, everyone is fully aware that our politics is in a volatile position at the moment. We don't know what the next 2-3 years is going to look like. So I think people have just got a real heightened awareness that they've got to make the right decisions. And actually, in a way, it hasn't slowed people down. People are also wanting to make decisions sooner rather than later, so that their homes are their sanctuary sooner rather than later. People don't want, obviously, renovation work to drag on for years. But they also want to know that what they're doing is the right thing at the moment. That's a really difficult question to answer in terms of, yeah.
Yeah, that's my question to end on. Where do you see it? But it's just like anything in this country, isn't it? And globally, it's like it depends on so many things. And of course, the big builders and tradespeople being in such short supply, and the cost of things.
One really big push. So one thing that I feel really, really passionate about is we've got a massive skills shortage. One of the things about my membership that's really, really important when I launch is that a percentage of that is going to go towards training women in the skilled trades, because we've got something ridiculous like less than 3% of tradespeople in this country are female.
That's dreadful, isn't it?
It's actually a phenomenal career opportunity for women. Because, and I spoke to an amazing electrician the other day I've worked with, and he said to me, oh, Ellora, can you persuade my sister to train to be an electrician? He said, because otherwise she's just going to sit behind a desk, and the flexibility she'll get, the earning opportunity is 10 times more than she will make in an office admin job, he says, at where we work. But she's daunted by it. It's also the fact that there's a lot of flexible working opportunities, which I think women want more of as well. There's this perception you need to be physically stronger for certain jobs, but there's a lot of skilled jobs where women are just as capable. So I really, really want to make sure that this business funds and supports this area, because we have a huge skills shortage in the UK at the moment in the building industry. So we actually are desperately in need of electricians and plumbers and joiners and roofers and all of these. So that's a real passionate aspect for me as well.
Well, thank you. That seems a really good positive note to end on. So thank you for joining me today, Ellora.
Pleasure.
Can you tell everybody where they can find you and what they can get from you and all of that stuff, please?
Yes. So really easy. If you go to Facebook and type in Her Own Space, you will find the group. It's free to join. We've got about 2,000 members at the moment. Please feel free to join. You're asked to tell us a little bit about your project before you get accepted. And obviously, it's for women only. And just enjoy it, contribute, share your projects. And then I'm really excited to be launching soon a membership. It's a really low ticket membership, £8 a month. And I am going to give access to a huge amount of curated resources that I have put together, tools, checklists, and even more exciting, we're going to have some great supplier discounts from suppliers out there to help keep your costs down on your work. But I have to stress, I am really choosing suppliers with sustainability at the core of their business. I really want to drive the changes we need to make in a positive way. So I've got to curate those suppliers and make sure they're the right suppliers for people. So I'm going to be tough in these kind of areas because I think someone has to be. I will post within the Facebook group when we're launching that membership, but I really want to make it affordable for everybody, no matter how big their project is.
Are you anywhere else on social media?
I'm on Instagram, her.own.space-. That's in the Facebook group as well. And those are my primary sources of connecting with everyone.
Lovely. Well, thank you again. And thank you for listening to the Complaining Cow Consumer Show. And you can find more help and advice about consumer rights and topical issues on the Complaining Cow website, www.thecomplainingcow.co.uk. You can find me at Twitter at Complaining Cow, Facebook, The Complaining Cow, Instagram, The Complaining Cow. And if you have any consumer topics or concerns that you'd like me to cover, then you can contact me at helen@eastlondonradio.org.uk, and you can get 15% off How to Complain, the Essential Consumer Guide to Getting Refunds, Redress and Results, and 101 Habits of an Effective Complainer with the code ELR15 on the Complaining Cow website. Thank you very much for joining me, and see you next time. Bye.